Hello, Alexandra here. Today's topic is healing your stage red shadow. And of course, by stage red, I am talking about the stage in spiral dynamics or integral, where stage red wants what it wants now and uses dominance and dictating and is very harsh. Now, wait a minute, I am talking about your shadow being an internal construct aimed at you. So we would be an innie if we had parents who were at stage red or fall back to stage red when they were angry and had a shadow at stage red. So what do I mean about an internal construct? Well, let's get into it. This is very common. Now, one common scenario is that a parent may be at stage red emotionally, but cognitively be in stage blue or stage amber. Amber in integral, blue in spiral dynamics, and that means that they cognitively know how to behave in public. Stage blue is about caring for others, about conventional parenting and what we're supposed to do and what we're supposed to do right. So that parent may have presented as a good parent to the outside world and at home shown the stage red behaviors. And as we know, the shadow of stage blue feels justified in punishing their kids because it may be religious abuse or following some kind of rigid rule set. So stage blue folks who are too punitive actually believe in a higher order, and they believe they're justified for punishment because they actually really do think they're helping the child, although they're not, they're too harsh. But stage red is the parent. There's no higher order. Stage red wants what it wants now. Stage red does not have empathy. They know enough to hide their behaviors toward their children: physical abuse, aggression, verbal aggression, dominance. They know it's quote unquote seen as wrong, but they think, hey, the kid deserves this, or they want what they want in the moment. And they don't have the empathy to realize that there are long-term consequences to what they're doing. So what might this look like if someone has a parent who's at stage red emotionally and they're cognitively at stage amber in integral or blue in spiral dynamics? They look great to the outside world and no one would even believe the child. The stage red part behind the doors is dominating, dictating, wants immediate results, punishing, bullying. And if you have a parent whose center of gravity is like a mix of red transitioning into blue, this transition area, when they're in their shadow, they can be very harsh on their kids because they can have both the dominance and the rigid rules. So religious abuse falls under the shadow of blue or amber, and that may be mixed in with being way too harsh. And what happens is, to the outside world, if the parent presents as charming or fun to the outside world, they may make excuses. The extended family may say, oh, but they're just a little too much of a disciplinarian. Oh, but being a single parent is so hard. And the child may say something and no one might believe the child. So what happens? Why in the world would a child pull in this parental construct as an interject? What it does is, we do this subconsciously as children. We inherit our parents' shadow. We inherit our parents as an interject because it's preemptive protection. In internal family systems, strangely enough, this bullying parent, when it becomes internalized and points its finger at us, is the way for the child to keep themselves, quote, in line before the parent can do it. So even though it seems backwards, why in the heck would that be helpful? Why would our brains be subconsciously wired to pull in this parent as an interject, it is a protective measure. And so now, all of maybe we went through physical abuse, verbal abuse, maybe we had a very jealous parent. Yes, stage red can absolutely be jealous. They're jealous you're in the spotlight. They want you to follow their values, not your values. So now we have this interject, maybe throughout our lives, that's pointing the finger at us. We feel guilty when we didn't do anything wrong. We don't fully believe in our complexities and capacities because they were never mirrored. And in fact, they were probably ignored because there's probably some neglect too with a stage red parent, or there could be, because a child's needs are seen as an intrusion to stage red. Stage red, when it's in its shadow, is very selfish. The positive side of stage red is audacity and bravery and making big life changes, outward bound in the challenge of going on the whitewater rafting and rappelling. That's a positive side of stage red. But we're talking about parents who had either a negative stage red shadow or who were emotionally at stage red. And this is very hard on the child. So the long-term impact, and when we've inherited this inner parent that matches our outer parent, this is what happens often in internal family systems. The internal systems look a lot like the external systems. So we may use invisibility as a strategy because we're just so used to being criticized or falsely blamed or put down because we have needs, and we may become caretaking because we were trained to always put the other person first. And so a lot of times, and maybe we didn't have the extreme version, but we most of us have had a dysfunctional parent, because no parents are perfect and all families are dysfunctional. So this internal parent, this critical construct can be on a continuum. But having this critical internal construct that we inherited from a parent then creates vulnerable parts when we are struggling, vulnerable parts when we are suffering. And so we may, if we're not familiar with parts work and we're brand new to it, other language for that would be like, wow, I'm really reacting to something. I'm really struggling right now. I'm really in my head today. I'm really in a lot of pain. These are parts, and I will put an introductory video to parts in the notes if you're not familiar with parts work. But having the benefit of understanding the stages and what stage your internal construct might be at can really help us see the various parts. The critical parent, the blaming internal parent, the vulnerable part, the part that doubts ourselves, the part that gaslights ourselves, the parts that uses invisibility as a strategy, the part that is so needs to be in control because we were supposed to be perfect if we had a stage red parent. So we were supposed to be perfect so that they would not look bad. So we have all of these projections we receive from our parents. And I do, if they were at stage red or in the shadow of stage red, or they had, when they were triggered, they go into stage red, or even like amber in the stage shadow of amber, where there were too much of a disciplinarian. We have these inner constructs, and it may be very confusing for a child to have especially a stage red parent, because the child can sense the stage red parent often enjoys yelling at the child, and they can see the enjoyment in the parent's face, and they don't understand it. It feels so good for a stage red parent to offload their pain. And yes, a stage red parent can be jealous, constantly jealous, even of a child, and they may be a little bit mean. So they may be a teeny bit sadistic too. And I have a friend who had a parent, her mother used to knuckle her in the arm. And the mother did this close in from about 2 inches away, so it wouldn't leave a mark, and so it wouldn't look like to the child like she was actually being hit. It would just look like, just a quick venting of frustration or being eccentric. And the mother did this because she knew hitting was wrong. So she did it in a way that it wouldn't be looked to the rest of the family like she was really hitting the child. It would just look like a moment of, oh, the mother messed up for one quick second and had a bad day, but this person's mother was very charming and everybody was always telling her she had such a great mother. So that stage red knows what is unacceptable to society, but it tries to get away with it and hide things. Some stage red parents don't even try to hide it. For example, in the US right now, it's January 2026. We have a president with tons of stage red behavior who doesn't even try to hide it. So if you're wondering what stage red looks like, look no further. So I hope you found this content useful. Sending you love and blessings, and see you in the next video.